Have you ever wondered if the money in your pocket, the digits in your bank account, or the cryptocurrency in your wallet are truly yours? What if the very foundation of your wealth was nothing but a collective hallucination, a delicate illusion held together by fragile belief? In times of economic certainty, we take these structures for granted, assuming they are eternal pillars beneath our feet. But today, as the world trembles under the weight of financial recession, rising authoritarianism, and a technological arms race over digital currencies, we are forced to confront an unsettling truth. What we call money has never been about value but about control. Bitcoin emerged as a rebellion, a whisper of anarchy encoded in mathematics, a technological fist raised against the monopolistic empires of fiat currencies. It was not merely a new form of wealth, it was a philosophical statement, a declaration that trust could be programmed, decentralized, and liberated from human fallibility. But even now, as Bitcoin matures and governments scramble to launch their own centralized digital currencies, the question gnaws at us: is true financial freedom ever possible within systems designed by those who seek to own you? The global economy today is a slow-motion collapse dressed in polite language. Recession, inflation, quantitative easing, austerity measures. These are the polite masks placed over the face of systemic rot. Central banks print money without restraint, eroding purchasing power while widening the chasm between the ruling class and the masses. Every stimulus package is a sedative. Every interest rate adjustment is an illusion of control. Behind closed doors, policymakers know the old order is dying, and they are not trying to save it. They are trying to reshape it. When societies lose faith in their currencies, history shows us that collapse is never far behind. Rome's denarius, once trusted across continents, was slowly debased until it became worthless. The Weimar Republic printed so much money that children played with stacks of banknotes in the streets. When belief in money erodes, it is not only markets that fall, civilizations crumble with it. And yet here we are again, blind in our arrogance, believing that this time it will be different. Bitcoin was supposed to be the antidote. It offered scarcity where fiat money offered infinite dilution. It offered transparency where governments offered opaque manipulation. It offered sovereignty where banks offered dependence. But even Bitcoin, for all its genius, faces an enemy older and more patient than any code: human nature itself. As prices soared and fortunes were made overnight, the original ethos of Bitcoin was slowly poisoned by the very greed it sought to escape. Bitcoin became, for many, not a tool of liberation, but a lottery ticket, another vehicle for speculation and status. Exchanges centralized. Custodianship returned. The ethos of be your own bank dissolved into convenience and complacency. The dream of decentralized financial freedom began to resemble, disturbingly, the very systems it was created to overthrow. Meanwhile, the architects of the old order have been watching, learning, adapting. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, are not an innovation. They are a weapon, a technological leash, designed to reassert control at a scale and precision never before possible. Imagine a world where every transaction is traceable, programmable, and if necessary, erasable. Imagine a future where dissent can be punished, not with bullets or prisons, but by the quiet revocation of your ability to participate in economic life. No need for violence when exclusion is just a keystroke away. And they will sell this to you not as a chain, but as a salvation. Faster transactions, lower fees, greater security. They will tell you that CBDCs are a triumph of progress, a beacon of modernization. And many will believe them, because the truth is uncomfortable. It demands responsibility. And it is always easier to surrender. Freedom for the comforting illusion of safety. But what is money really? Strip away the faces of dead presidents, the promises of central banks, the digital numbers flickering on a screen, and you are left with one thing: trust. Money is not gold or paper or code. It is the collective agreement that something has value, that this abstract symbol can be exchanged for tangible goods, for food, for shelter, for survival. This trust is fragile. It is emotional. It is human. And once broken, it is almost impossible to repair. The recession that grips the world today is not merely financial. It is existential. It is a loss of faith in the very narratives that held modern life together. Progress, stability, growth. These myths are unraveling before our eyes, and in their place, we find an abyss of uncertainty. You feel it, do you not? That gnawing sense that something fundamental has cracked beneath the surface of daily life. That the old promises sound increasingly hollow. That perhaps we have been living in a beautifully constructed lie. The rise of Bitcoin was a symptom of this disillusionment. It was a cry for a new narrative. One based on mathematics instead of manipulation, decentralization instead of hierarchy. But no narrative is immune to corruption. No structure is safe from the gravity of human weakness. As states move to launch their digital currencies, the final phase of the great financial transformation begins. The war for control over value itself will not be fought with tanks and bombs, but with code, algorithms, and psychological warfare. You will be told that resistance is futile, that adaptation is progress, that privacy is a relic of a barbaric past. And most chilling of all, many will welcome it. They will trade their financial autonomy for convenience, without a second thought. They will cheer the arrival of CBDCs, without realizing they are applauding the erection of their own invisible cages. In ancient times, emperors debased their currencies to fund wars and build monuments to their own egos. Today, leaders debase trust itself, printing lies with the same reckless abandon as they print money. And as always, it is the ordinary people who bear the cost in savings. Eroded, dreams deferred, futures stolen. You may think that by holding Bitcoin or other decentralized assets, you are immune. You may believe that technology alone can safeguard your freedom, but technology is neutral. It can liberate or enslave depending on who wields it. Bitcoin is not a savior. It is a tool. Its fate and ours depends not on code, but on courage. On our willingness to resist the slow seduction of comfort, to endure the loneliness of dissent, to defend principles, when it is easier to betray them. The question is not whether you own your money. The question is whether you own your mind. Because the greatest currency in the coming age will not be Bitcoin, nor dollars, nor digital yuan. It will be autonomy of thought, clarity of perception, resilience of spirit. In a world designed to numb you, to pacify you, to program you, your consciousness itself becomes the last frontier of rebellion. Do you see it? That the battle lines are not drawn on charts or in parliaments, but in the invisible landscape of belief. That the true revolution is not technological, but psychological. That before they can control your money, they must first conquer your mind. If you have felt the growing unease, the suspicion that things are not as they seem, you are not alone. If you have questioned whether this endless cycle of boom and bust, inflation and austerity, surveillance and dependency is inevitable, you are already resisting. But resistance begins with understanding. And understanding begins with asking the questions they do not want you to ask. Why do governments fear Bitcoin so much if it is truly worthless? Why do they rush to create their own digital currencies under the guise of innovation? Why do they need to monitor every transaction, to know every detail of your economic life? The answer is brutally simple. Because control over money is control over life itself. And in the end, all tyranny, no matter how sophisticated or subtle, is about domination of your choices, your freedoms, your future. The absurd truth is that most people will choose their own chains. They will embrace them, decorate them, even fight to protect them. Because freedom is terrifying. It demands that you think, that you decide, that you bear the crushing weight of responsibility. The coming era will not be decided by governments or markets alone. It will be decided in the quiet, private decisions of individuals to conform or to resist, to sleep or to awaken. When the old money dies and the new money rises, what will you choose, safety or sovereignty? Convenience or conscience? Sleepwalking obedience or brutal, exhilarating awareness? The clock is ticking. The collapse is accelerating. And somewhere deep inside, you already know the choice was never about Bitcoin. or dollars or CBDCs. The choice was always about you. The future is not written, it is encoded, moment by moment in the actions of those who refuse to kneel. You must choose now what kind of ancestor you will be. Will you be remembered as one of those who surrendered in silence, who traded their birthright for convenience, who bowed their head and whispered, "There was nothing we could do"? Or will you be remembered as one of the few who stood, who spoke, who built even when the whole world called it madness? There will be no cavalry, no final warning, no second chance. Freedom is never given, it is taken by those with eyes open enough to see through the lies and hearts fierce enough to endure the cost. You were born into a world that was already at war for your mind, your will, your future. Pretending neutrality is choosing a side. It is no longer enough to understand. You must act, learn, build, resist, educate others. Create parallel economies, master the tools of encryption, decentralization, self-custody. Step away from the systems designed to domesticate. You reclaim the skills they worked so hard to make you forget. Refuse their narratives, refuse their terms, refuse their chains. Because the collapse is not coming, it is already here. And in the ruins of the old world, those who prepared those who remain free will be the architects of what comes next. It is better to walk alone into the storm than to march in formation into slavery. Remember, they can freeze your accounts, they can silence your voice, they can seize your property, but they cannot extinguish the fire you choose to carry inside. And that fire, your will, your refusal, is the seed of the world to come. Light it now, or be extinguished with the old world. The choice is yours, but the time is almost gone.